Hello everyone, Joel here. 2026 has already turned out to be an absolute powerhouse year for RPG lovers, serving up everything from gritty dark fantasy remakes to mind-bending tabletop-inspired detective adventures. Today, we are breaking down the 15 best new RPG games of 2026 so far, emphasizing exactly why these titles are making huge waves across the gaming community. Kicking things off, Gothic 1 Remake drags us right back into the brutal Valley of Mines, and let's be honest, that classic Eurojank charm has officially been upgraded into gorgeous Unreal Engine 5 grit. You still control the nameless hero getting tossed into a lawless mining colony, but the modernized combat system actually lets you dodge and parry without feeling like you are fighting your own keyboard. The living, breathing open world is the massive selling point here, where every single NPC has a realistic daily routine and will not hesitate to rob you blind if you trespass. While character movement can occasionally feel slightly stiff during tight interior scuffles, the immersive atmosphere and deep faction role-playing stick the landing brilliantly. Speaking of deep immersion, if you are craving that pristine HD 2D visual aesthetic, The Adventures of Elliot delivers pure eye candy. Developed by Square Enix and Claytek Works, this action RPG ditches turn-based menus for snappy, real-time hacking and slashing, where you constantly juggle weapon loadouts and time-traveling abilities. The seamless co-op mechanics and the flexible magicite crafting system make character experimentation surprisingly addictive. On the objective criticism side, hopping across different eras doesn't always shake up enemy variety as much as you might hope, leading to a bit of dungeon deja vu mid-game. Nevertheless, its heartfelt narrative and punchy combat flow make it a standout adventure. Transitioning seamlessly from charming pixel art to pure controller-crushing punishment, Nioh 3 pushes samurai masocore action to unprecedented heights. Team Ninja finally opened up the level design into a much broader, sprawling exploration structure while letting you transcend time straight into the Bakumatsu period. Mechanically, the combat feels like absolute kinetic perfection, blending lethal katana stances with wicked ninja tools and the newly introduced mist system. Objectively speaking, the inventory management still leans heavily toward a loot spreadsheet simulator that might overwhelm newcomers, and certain boss hitboxes demand frame-perfect reflexes. But if you live for hyper-technical melee combat, conquering the Crucible feels impossibly rewarding.
MK 社が開発していた仮想現実シミュレーター。
Now, if massive, interconnected world building is more your speed, Trails Beyond the Horizon finally brings Zemuria's biggest heavy hitters together under one roof, combining fan favorites like Van Arkwright, Rien Schwarzer, and Father Kevin Graham into one sweeping narrative is pure RPG comfort food. Mechanically, the evolved battle system flows beautifully, letting you freeze time with ZOC and chain explosive shard commands smoothly between field exploration and turn-based command combat. On the flip side, the narrative barrier to entry is colossal. If you aren't caught up on the deep lore, the plot will hit you like a freight train. Shifting gears from traditional JRPGs to sci-fi creature collection, Voidling Bound throws you into third-person shooter action where you biologically engineer your own alien monsters. The real mechanical hook here revolves around the evolution chamber, where tweaking branching genetics alters not just your creature's visual swagger, but also your elemental synergies and combat loadouts. Dodging corruption swarms while unleashing mutated ultimate abilities feels snappy, fast-paced, and wonderfully chaotic. That being said, the core campaign length leans on the shorter side, and endgame activities tend to rely heavily on repetitive farming loops. Even with minor species balance quirks, crafting weird alien companions keeps the gameplay remarkably fresh. Before we go into the list, I want to give you my recommendation for some of the best deals in instant gaming right now, especially if you're tight on budget. We knew that instant gaming always give us so many crazy deals for your favorite games, like these titles for example. I mean, can you believe these prices? If you love RPGs, there's no way you never heard of these masterpieces, and to think that you can get them under $10 or even $5, it's an absolute steal. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Moving right along to tactical strategy, Heroes of Science and Fiction hit its 1.0 release this year, and it is a massive love letter to classic Heroes of Might and Magic. Developed by Oxymoron Games, it swaps out traditional medieval castles for a sci-fi universe where you can literally command armies of high-tech space moles and cyber bugs. You move your commanders across an overworld map to gather resources, upgrade bases, and level up deep RPG skill trees before clashing on intense hexagonal combat grids. Objectively, balancing all those active commander abilities on top of massive army logistics creates a pretty steep learning curve for newcomers. But if you've been craving that classic Heroes addiction with a sci-fi twist, this is an absolute must-play. On the subject of tabletop rule sets, Esoteric Ebb arrives as an absolute narrative masterpiece wearing its D&D and Disco Elysium inspirations proudly on its sleeve. You step into the damn boots of the world's most incompetent government cleric, unraveling a tense political explosion inside a bizarre arcane punk city alongside your goblin sidekick. Instead of swinging swords, you literally argue against the internal voices of your 6 core stats while rolling 20-sided dice to resolve absurd dialogue skill checks. Sure, the lack of traditional physical combat and heavy reliance on reading massive dialogue trees won't cater to adrenaline junkies, but the razor-sharp humor and branching reactivity are simply unmatched.
This is my nest! The moment you set foot here,
Now blowing the scope out to massive AAA proportions, Crimson Desert delivers one of the most breathtaking interactive open worlds ever built. Playing as a rugged mercenary leader across the war-torn continent of Pywell, the physics-driven combat feels surprisingly weighty, letting you grapple foes, scale massive beasts Shadow of the Colossus style, and chain devastating elemental combos. The sheer level of environmental reactivity, from chopping trees to dynamic weather impacts, is mind-blowing. Objectively, that immense technical ambition occasionally results in minor frame rate dips during chaotic siege battles, and menu navigation can feel slightly fiddly. Still, the visceral thrill of open-world exploration is undeniable.
whoever takes his head.
Taking a step away from gritty mercenaries into monster taming perfection, Monster Hunter Stories 3 refines the creature collecting formula beautifully. Riding into battle alongside your favorite monsties feels smoother than ever, thanks to a deeply polished turn-based rock-paper-scissors combat system enriched by dynamic kinship attacks and gene splicing mechanics. The visual presentation is gorgeous, and scouring complex biomes for rare eggs triggers a massive dopamine rush for completionists. To be fair, story pacing dips slightly during mid-game fetch quests, and AI companion logic occasionally makes questionable tactical decisions. Even so, the monster customization and build variety remain completely unrivaled.
I never knew Simon before.
Pivoting right back to nostalgic turn-based royalty, Olden Era returns the legendary franchise to its roots while injecting crucial modern quality-of-life polish, exploring the vibrant hex-based world of Enroth while leveling up heroes and building up your castle economy feels like pure comfort food for strategy lovers. The tactical combat shines bright thanks to active hero abilities, destructible battlefield elements, and deeply asymmetrical faction mechanics. Objectively speaking, online multiplayer matchmaking can occasionally suffer from minor synchronization delays, and certain faction unit costs require a bit more fine-tuning. Regardless, that classic just one more turn loop is as potent as ever. Continuing down the path of phenomenal storytelling, Zero Parades proves that Disco Elysium devs can craft exceptional worlds far beyond traditional detective tropes. Playing as a disgraced female operative navigating a Cold War-inspired island city-state, the gameplay completely ditches physical brawls for intense psychological warfare and intricate dialogue skill checks. The writing is remarkably cerebral, capturing paranoia, political deception, and moral ambiguity with astonishing sophistication. It definitely demands serious patience, as the deliberate pacing and lack of quest hand-holding can occasionally make objectives feel obtuse. Yet, as a pure narrative role-playing experience, it offers extraordinary psychological depth.
As you press down on the
Swerving wildly into absolute chaotic madness, Edmund Macmillan's Mewgenics shines as a gloriously unhinged turn-based tactical RPG simulation. You are essentially breeding, mutating, and hoarding genetically unstable felines before sending them out into brutal grid-based tactical battles. The core gameplay loop revolves around genetic inheritance, where your cats pass down wild combat abilities, weird physical mutations, and questionable psychological trauma to their offspring. The sheer variability guarantees that no two runs ever play out the same. Objectively, the grotesque art style and punishing roguelite difficulty spikes can feel abrasive if you hate RNG bad luck. But the emergent tactical chaos is pure genius.
Meow!
Swerving away from mutated cats into pure remastered nostalgia, we got Diablo 2 Resurrected Infernal Edition. Blizzard dropped this massive package earlier this year, and the biggest selling point is easily the brand new Warlock class alongside the long-awaited Reign of the Warlock DLC. Mechanically, playing the Warlock feels ridiculously empowering, letting you enslave Hellspawn or rain chaotic shadow magic across the screen while enjoying huge quality of life upgrades like customizable loot filters and dedicated rune stash tabs. Objectively speaking, however, Battle.net servers can still suffer from frustrating disconnection hiccups during peak hours. Even so, carving through Hell's armies with the overhauled endgame terror zones makes this genre-defining ARPG addictive all over again. Transitioning smoothly to tactical military sci-fi, MENACE comes directly from the brilliant minds behind Battle Brothers, bringing that same unforgiving brutality into the distant Wayback System. Commanding a strike force of space marines, tanks, and mechs against an alien threat across 3D tactical grids feels heavy, lethal, and impactful. Suppressive fire genuinely pins targets down, and permanent squad leader permadeath ensures every tactical blunder hurts your soul. While recent updates added welcome custom difficulty settings, the relentless RNG punishment and grim resource scarcity won't cater to casual players. But for hardcore turn-based tacticians, the strategic depth is exceptionally rewarding.
Impressive shooting, Marine!
I do what I can.
Wrapping our deep dive up with an absolute titan of the action RPG world, Path of Exile 2 completely revolutionizes the isometric genre with incredible mechanical weight. The combat feels jaw-droppingly visceral, introducing fluid WASD movement controls, dodge rolls, and skill combinations that make clearing monster swarms feel like a high-budget action game rather than a mindless clicker. The dual specialization passive skill tree offers staggering build diversity without feeling completely unapproachable. To make things even better, its visual polish and endless gameplay depth make it an absolute masterclass.